Welcome to the Flex web series Onboarding Basics. I'm your host, Marcus Merritt. This web series is designed for both newly signed up customers or new employees of existing customers to get familiar with your Flex system. Today, we're going to talk about navigating your Flex system, and especially the places where different places in Flex are using similar user interfaces, and so that you can get comfortable with how to get around whether you're in one place or another. It'll all work the same. I want to highlight a few things really quick. First, at the top here, we have the main menu, and go through that with then submenus that then pop out as appropriate. We'll talk about different things of those as we go through different videos in this series. Over on the right side menu, if you have multiple warehouses, you'll get a warehouse drop-down to select your location, or if you want to look at all locations, and that filter will apply to different pages that you're on, including, for example, the calendar we're starting here. And then the barcode field, which can be used to enter a barcode to open an item, if you're on a scanning screen to process that item, or if you open the number of a document, it will open that specific project element. And then next to that, the plus is where you would then create new project elements within your system, a quote, a pull sheet, etc. Okay. After that, the main screen, which we'll commonly refer to as the workbench, is where you'll start out on the home screen with the daybook or calendar view of the calendar, a quick link page for a few other quick ways to get to new things, and the to-do list. We're not going to go into details of any one of these. I just want to highlight that. After that, the first main thing here is this left side menu. We have these different widgets for different items. This is the resource menu. Now, first, really quick, the top is for searching, and this can be to both search resources or individual project elements. But after that, the next three are the specific kinds of resources. The top here is the contacts. The next is then the inventory or assets, and then is the services or things that might go onto a quote that would be something you don't track in your inventory, the most common of that being labor. Okay. Now, important to note within Flex, it's very customizable, flexible for each different customer. So your folders, your structure may look different, especially if you're an existing customer and you're one of those new employees. Don't expect that it needs to be. It should be based around your system's needs, your company's needs. But in all of these, they work in the same way with folder structure and subfolders. Okay. And then the items within those. Okay. Oh, in there, I don't have very many in my clients or my contacts in this system. So in here, there's a contact, or within my resource on my labor, and I have some items here. Now, the key thing with this that I want to bring up is all of these different items, whether services, inventory, or contacts, are all, again, a resource or resource type. And because of that, the navigation of this is very similar. So I'm going to open one contact, one service, and one inventory item and show you how that navigation is very similar. Now we note that I can click that same widget that I was on, and that will collapse it and give me my real estate back. Okay. So now we see within here, while I'm on a contact or an inventory item or a service, we see a very similar user interface. We've got the name of the item here at the top, and we've got global things that we can do to edit or delete this item. Now, what's listed in my global options is different if it's an inventory item or a contact or an item, but it's all in the same place. We again see in the main kind of top half of the screen a recapping of key data of this item. Now, again, the key data will be different depending on what's going on with the item, but it's going to recap that key data. Okay. On some of these, there's less, some of these, there's more, it doesn't matter. On this lower half of the screen, then we have tabs for additional details. Okay. And again, what tabs are going to be is going to depend whether it's an inventory item, whether it's a contact, but we're going to have tabs with additional details on that. If while looking at one of those tabs, we need to review, because we've got a lot of items here, we can go to the top right and hit the arrow to collapse the top half of the screen and get more real estate. Now within there, again, I showed in the top right, we've got these icons to do major things. And on an inventory item, there's more things. So we'll look at that. We see we've got edit model, copy inventory model, etc. But down in the bottom left on a specific tab, we also have icons. This is how you do things specific to that tab. So this is about adding a new serial unit. deleting selected serial units, etc. So that's the key thing to know, and it works the same way in every tab. If I'm on the phone number tab, I can add a new phone number by clicking there, or I can delete an existing phone number by clicking there. Okay? Fairly straightforward in that. All work the same. You can minimize, you can delete, and that's just the key thing I want to show. So any resource type you're in, you'll see that interface is very much the same. Okay? So now, within this, if I then instead open a project element. For a project element, that's what we refer to as any kind of thing that is a list or a document. Most common of this is the default quote. Now again, these can be named differently. Your system may have renamed this to estimate or proposal, some other thing. That's perfectly fine. The default system calls the financial document quote. We've got pull sheets, manifest, invoices, etc. All sorts of things. The key thing here, and I'm not going to open up different ones to show the example on this, but again, they work in the same way. Okay, it's going to load on the header tab of this, and you'll see down in the bottom, kind of as if you were working in Excel, tabs that you can go through. You can click to the detail tab, and that's going to load to the details of it, or the list of specific inventory items, services you may have added to it. Or we can go to the total block to review the total if we need to edit, add something there, or edit the system kind of notes, the total notes for that, okay? The project notes. In that, that's going to work the same way, whether it's a quote, whether it's an invoice, whether it's a pull sheet. Now for the pull sheet, there won't be any totals here, but we do still have the ability to put project notes on a pull sheet in that. Now on this, rather than having that big list of items here, we've got way too many options of what we can and can't do on a quote. And so we instead have, similar to the left side resource menu, we've got a widget menu where I can pop things out and pop them back in when necessary. We've got our ability to see our project tree, or all of the things that are related to this, as far as quotes, pull sheets, manifest, everything that's in that parent-child relationship. We can go to the modify and see different things. We can edit the header. We can copy lines, copy the whole quote, delete the whole quote, lots of things there. We can go to the reports and be able to kick out a PDF of the document to be able to email to somebody. Logistics, financials, workflow, etc. Again, I'm not going to go over all of those things. I just want to help note that it's going to be the same way. Any project element that I'm in, you're going to have these and that ability to pop out. And if you're done with that and you need your real estate back, click it again and it's going to go back. So that's the biggest key thing there. And there's one other place I want to highlight, and it's going to be somewhat similar to looking at this daybook version of the calendar. But if I go in here and say I go to projects and quotes to look at my quotes, I'm going to get a grid of my current quotes that are in my system, okay? And within this, now again, these are again filterable. We can change. These are editable for different systems. We can have different columns, different items. But I want to highlight that again, it's going to work in a very same way. There's going to be grids on all sorts of things you can get, different project elements. You can get similar things for inventory or for contacts, for different things. And within them, I can go to any one of these and I can sort by most of these tabs, not all, most of these columns, not all of them, but most of them. I can filter by them, some of which it's by typing in. If I know the number of what I'm looking for, I could start to type in the number and it's going to filter for that. If I don't, but if instead some other places, for example, on this account manager or maybe on the status, you're going to get a drop-down menu where you can then select from that. If I want multiple, I can deselect and then select others. Or if I know I only want to see confirmed, I can select that only, and I'm going to get that kind of a selection. Now, instead, in the dates option, you're going to get a drop down, and there's going to be a bunch of pre-filtered ones for things like last 7 days, next 7 days, last month, this month, stuff like that. Or you can go to custom, and then it's just going to let you put a range in there. Okay. And so that's the kind of thing in this. And again, it's just going to work in the same way on this. Now, it's important also to note in the bottom left here, we're going to have some other options. We're going to be able to add things from this. We're going to be able to reset our filters, run bulk workflow. The biggest thing I want to show in this is these two here, the show deleted only and include closed. There are statuses assigned to things, and we'll talk about this later when we get into talking about specifically building projects. But you can, with statuses, can move things to be closed, where they try to take them out of sight, out of mind. If you go there and say include closed, then you'll get those back. Now, I'd set this to only be confirmed. Let me change that back to everything, and we'll see including some of the ones that have been closed in this on there. So we've got a couple of these here that are closed. So that's kind of the key thing there. And again, like I say, it's just trying to show that it's going to work the same way in all sorts of different places. If I went to look at invoices, the list is going to look very similar, and my options of what I can do are going to be very similar. Okay. Thank you for joining us for this. Stay tuned for next time when we're going to go over to inventory basics. Thanks, and keep on flexing.